good of a session. But Natalia, maybe just to answer your question in a slightly different way. I attended the earlier session of EXI, or when it was originally been formed. I haven't been around for quite some time. And I just popped in today, and for me, these sessions are literally about, it's about experiencing, discovering, and learning more about yourself, and becoming more of who you potentially could become. So, from a value add perspective, that's why I come to these sessions, or whenever I can. If I can be live like I am right now, I do. Alternatively, I just listen in. So I hope that helps you. But thanks so much, Anne and Eric. I think, I just, it's difficult for me to do some of the exercises while I'm cycling, but nonetheless, just I paused a few times just listening, and I think some of the introspective work is quite phenomenal. I didn't get a chance to jot down some thinking and some notes, but I have some mental notes I want to make. And I think the most important lesson for me out of today is just, courage is not some far-fetched, mysterious thing that's way out there in the distance. It can be something as simple as, hey, you know what, I've been putting off 1, 2, 3. Let's just get one going. And that in itself is courage. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Sanjay. Really appreciate your thoughts. Yeah, it's really true, right? It's like there's so many things that we could potentially focus on and work on and get better at, and sometimes it's just a question of where do we start, and we believe, again, this connection with the heart and being courageous, and even if it's just a little bit about getting out of your comfort zone, does touch upon so many different areas that it's really almost a great place to start. It's often a hard place to start, but once you're in it and once you're doing it and once you have as we were sharing about earlier, like the learning, the practicing, and actually becoming it, then it's just almost like anything else, almost like any other skill, talent, experience that you have. It becomes a little bit second nature and sometimes a little bit automatic. And it's definitely easier, right? Those synapses are forming in your brain. You have experiences, you have success to build on. You have a lot of lessons to learn as well, but definitely something to kind of follow up with. And just wanted to check and see if you had anything to add before we go to Sissy.
No, let's listen to what Sissy has to say.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Eric. This is really, really good work. So I just want to give a shout out and for you really making this available for the community. And, sometimes from idea to fruition is not an easy process. So I really appreciate all the work you put together. A few things I want to share. So the first thing is, I think in the age of AI, so I'm sure all of us, heard about ChatGPT, all this exponential technology is actually going to accelerate and our own evolution. So when we're born, we're conditioned to perform. I think we're in the human doing stats, right? So our self-worth is measured by what we do, our title, our living conditions, and other people's perspectives. And now with technology coming in, it's going to help us elevate. So when we take all that doing away, not 100% immediately, but percentage-wise, one is increasing towards that point, and you have no choice but to be yourself. And because the world no longer able to accept cookie cutter character anymore, and when you actually return home, you discover a unique gift, which is uniquely, extraordinarily different than anybody else. So either you do is, actively now, intentionally, purposely, or you will be pushed to a position you have to do it passively, and you probably don't want to do that until the technology come into your face to say, I'm sorry, job will be replaced completely. So that's the worst case scenario. And I actually think with technology advancement is setting the foundation for human consciousness to accelerate. So it's giving us a lot of tools, a lot of resources, but it's still, right? And this is a void, from a social condition to abundance condition, there's a pathway, there are million ways to get there. Sometimes it's really unclear. So there's a lot of spiritual guidance, a lot of gurus, a lot of workshops, a lot of books, podcasts, million things. And the problem is not about lack of information. And the challenge is lack of wisdom. Is how to create a simplistic access, and so we don't get overwhelmed and I want to get scared, and because scare is a mindset, and can occur in the journey pursue courage as well. And it just, it just all intertwined. And so I think the time is now. It's never yesterday or tomorrow. It is now. But also, how can we unite knowing I'm not alone in this journey? I'm scared, I'm overwhelmed. But how can I connect with my likely minded peeps who are in the journey same time and have authenticity to acknowledge what feelings we are going through and work with it as a doorway to open to the heart, as a doorway to activate the courage center, and also knowing I may not be successful because successful is such a heavily emotion related term, and when we get there, what is there anyway, right? So I'm Chinese, growing up as a oriental descent in that space. Everything around us, everything, this reality is actually a cultivated condition for you to learn for inner being. Your journey on this planet is always internal. Like, that's all there is. Because we come to this planet as nothing, as infant, right? We don't wear anything,
Oh my
we're
gosh,
naked,
she's so motivated.
and we're going away like that. So you can't take anything away with you. Everything around you is for inner learning and for us to become a better soul and to elevate humanity. So that just, I feel really resonate for what you shared. There's so much in there. So it's just some brief perspective I have. Thank you.
I love.
Thanks so much,
There's war
Sissy. That
happening.
was
What are we talking about?
great. Like, we definitely can have some deep conversations about where the world is going from a technology perspective. Yeah. And how it's going to impact us, and tapping into our own wisdom.
Thanks so much. Anyone else with any thoughts, comments, questions, feedback? As we indicated, we will be in touch in the coming days with one or more follow-up items, right? Slides, recordings, the reflection guide, more follow-ups, right? And of course, you can always check us out, right? Online, as we are always there at exponentialindividuals.io. And happy to kind of share with you a little bit more about kind of what are we doing there, et cetera. But yeah, would definitely love to kind of chat with all of you in the coming days and find out more about your journey and, acts of courage that you're doing and how we can help you moving forward. Other thoughts, other questions, comments, feedback?
I'm kind of disappointed by the way
Okay.
that the
Well,
spiritual.
definitely, check us out again online. If you have a phone, you can scan us,
Can I talk?
and we'll be doing more of these, as you've heard, and open to your suggestions on the reflection guide and anything else that we have sort of on our agenda. We're looking
problem.
forward to a great.
Nobody wants to hear my thoughts in the spiritual community.